Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson, your host, as we begin taping just a beautiful summer day here in downtown Lancaster. We're of course in the lobby of Fairfield Federal. Today's show, a couple different topics. The second half we'll be talking the American Red Cross with our local representative. That should be informative, and as we move into the summer and lots going on here, we'll learn a lot about that. And our first guest is the chief of the Lancaster Fire Department, David Ward. Chief Ward, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here, Paul.
On a day like this, just nice to be out, huh? Not stuck in the office someplace and doing paperwork. And
summertime is my season. I love it.
Chief Dave Ward of the Lancaster Fire Department. We got some things we can talk about, but let's talk about the last few months, everything getting back to normal on the force.
Yeah, we are working toward that direction. With the levy passing, and thank you, community, for passing that. We are in full bore trying to hire people. It's always a struggle. We were at a peak of 92, as we've talked about in the past, and we went down through the years due to financial constraints to, we were at probably 61 at a low. We are struggling to get back up. We're at 65. We hope to be at 84 by this time next year, for sure. Hopefully sooner than that. We offered 4 people positions. Mm-hmm. It's a tough process. It's not something that's just easy to get on. You have your complete backgrounds where you do your polygraph, your psychological evaluations, your physical, your stress tests, plus all your background stuff that we do, personal references and your past employment. Because the last thing you want to do is hire somebody that maybe doesn't conform to your code of ethics and things. So we're trying. It's slow. We're truly a statutory city. So one of the biggest things we're finding right now, places like Newark, which is a form of a charter city, and a lot of cities now can offer firefighters lateral transfers. For us, you have to take a test. You have to score. Civil Service Commission scores you, ranks you. Then we can draw 10 names for every position. So if we pull 10 names and we pick somebody from those 10 names. Well, what's really coming about right now in most of these cities that aren't statutory are doing what they call lateral transfers. So if I've got 15 years on skills, and I want to go to let's say Westerville. Westerville can say, hey, Dave, come on over, work for me. We're going to start you off at top pay. We're going to give you this, 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 and this. You don't have to take a test. And so today we just lost another one to Madison Township Fire. He'd been with us closer to 20 than 15. The benefits package was better than ours, but I get that we're never going to be as high as the Columbus market, but it seems like we take 2 steps forward with hires, and then we'll take 1 step back. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We did a little paradigm shift where before you had to be a firefighter medic, have your certifications through the state of Ohio. Now you can be a firefighter 2, which is a career firefighter card, credentialed, and then you can be a basic EMT. So we can hire you, but we're going to have to train you. It's going to take us 18 months to get you through medic school. It's not an easy class. It's not an easy test. You have to pass the national registry. So in the contract this year, when we hire Paul Jasson, the basic EMT firefighter, we're going to give you 36 months. We're going to pay for it. We're going to put you through medic school, but we're going to give you 36 months to pass that to get on. If you don't pass within that 36 months, then your employment would cease with Lancaster, because we really need medics. So we're going to hire people with lower credentials and bring them up to that. So we're hoping that we can attract more people.
When the levy passed, and so now it's open testing, you're going after people now. I don't know whether it was you right after the levy passed and we talked, but maybe it was the mayor, I'm not sure. But someone told me here in this interview setting that so many fewer people now interview, where at one time, maybe when you came on, tons of people were out there.
Absolutely hundreds. I remember going up here to this, was it American Legion that sat on the top of the hill? Yep. It was completely full. There were 300-400 guys wanting to be firefighters. Now, not this last test, but the time before, we had 30 sign up. 12 showed up and 10 passed for positions.
What would you think the big reason drop off? Is it drug testing? Is it too much testing to get on?
One of the biggest things was that you didn't have to have any cards to take the test. And like me, I had a degree from OU in business, and I was in industrial sales, but I didn't like it, so I wanted to be a firefighter. But I had no cards. Back then, you could take that. So it got to a point where it was an employer's market. It was hard to get on any fire department, so you could kind of pick and choose. Well, it's completely shifted now. So that's why we lowered it from having a medic card to a basic card, so that we can get more people.
I won't tell where this is, but one of my grandsons works in a place here in town, and they're short on people, like every business is short on people. But I said, "Are you short on people?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "They're even to a point where they're hiring people, and they let them start before the background checks come in, because they don't want to know some things if we're going to lose, and they end up losing them sometimes."
Sure.
Now, you can't do that, obviously.
No, absolutely not.
You got to be squared away.
Right, and you have them for 25 or 30 years. You know, the public sector, once you get on, and you have a disgruntled employee that you want to have that you're having problems with, it's really difficult to get rid of them. So you really have to do your due diligence going forward.
So let's say we get the hiring situation. You think that's coming around? Eventually, we'll get there close. If not,
yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
You know, last week we gave job offers for 2 people. It'll take 6 weeks to get all of the back half of that done, the polygraph and stress test. So we gave 2 offers last week. We have 3 or 4 coming in this week, and I'm sure that they may do well as well. So I could see us giving 3 to 4 offers this week. So we're going to make headway. It's going to take a little time to get that ball rolling, but we're getting there.
And just to go back to something quickly that you said we'll pay for your training for 36 months until you pass that. Do they actually work on a squad, or do they work there, or are they in school?
Well, see, that's one thing, Paul, with the Firefighter 2 basic card, we can put them on a medic as well as an engine, and so they're out there doing the job. Now, on their days off, they're going to be going to school.
Yeah.
But we're going to use them from day one.
Now we're getting up there, we're getting to speed, things coming back. I hear there's some thoughts about maybe some land acquisition, maybe some expansion.
You know, there's a big plan out there. Once we get to, say, 84, we're going to have the 3 frontline medics. Right now we have 2 frontline medics and one that's cross-staffed with our aero platform up on the hill. So let's say we're at 84. We're going to have a medic 1, a medic 2, a medic 3 frontline. Then we'll have a medic 4, which will be cross-staffed with the tower. So basically what that means to our community is that very rarely, I would say less than 0.1% of the time, are you ever going to see a mutual aid coming into the city again. Prior to the recession, the Great Recession, you never saw a medic coming in. Nothing wrong with them, but we never had to ask for assistance. We get these people back on, you're going to have 4 medics frontline all the time, basically. Which gives you better response. It's all about response time.
Sure.
So you're not gonna, if you're not breathing, you're not gonna have to wait on a medic from out in the county to come in and help you.
So
help us.
Looking at maybe somewhere else, another unit.
Yes. So as we're right now actively looking at ground, the engine house 1 is, I think, 122 years old. The west side was built in 55. So what's that? 70 years about. And then the newest one is a 1966 engine house 3. So they're getting some age to them. And when they did it, they did a good job, but it's time to maybe, we need to get bigger as far as the engine houses. The west side, it's in a really good location for the west side, but it's small.
And there's no growth room there.
None at all.
No growth room.
So really what we want to do is find us some ground on the west side that will service what our service area is right now, which is that west side. Plus, maybe move it a little bit north so that we can get to the Dominion home area. There's National Fire Protection Agency has standards for response times, and they like to see a medic unit on scene within 4 minutes, or an engine within 4 minutes, and then the whole group, if it was a working fire, within like 8. So we feel that if we can move that a little bit north, it'll service not only the Dominion home area well, but also our existing our existing run base, which is that west side.
So you think you can still cope with these, just some movement, not maybe an additional?
Right. You know, 20 years ago, 2001, about, We did a study.
That was the buzz.
That was the buzz.
That was
And they
the
did a big
buzz.
study. They paid a lot of money for the study. And they came back with a few plans. They didn't really isolate which one's better. But they had a four station model, which would basically put a brand new station like up around North Columbus.
Sure.
Or a 3 model station, which would say, hey, let's raise or tear down, let's engine house 2 and engine house 1, do something else with it, and build 2 new stations, a little bigger, so you can house all of your equipment, and a little bit different locations so that you can kind of catch the city. I think the city fathers have agreed that maybe a 3-station model was the way they would like to go.
With some movement to try to maybe make West Side a little bigger, a little different location. And I guess, your job's not getting easier. For example, I think of maybe Timber Top out there on North Columbus Street. Going to be a lot of additional runs come from that, I'm sure.
There will be. But we did a heat map, and when you look at those, Dominion is a big area, but we haven't seen a lot of runs there yet. I mean, there are runs, but they're not like
younger people probably,
yes.
and not retirees.
Exactly. As you get older, you're going to have more runs there. So that's not an old community. But also in Timber Top, you're going to have, I think, a nursing home facility.
Yes.
Anytime you put those in town, those are hot heat areas.
So you could see some calls just by the nature of what they do there.
Exactly.
So as I mentioned at the outset, it's a beautiful day here, and that means as we move now into the summer, the things coming up are just in a couple weeks here, 2 or 3 weeks actually. The Lancaster Festival will be on us, and now in talking to everybody at the fair as we do here, full go at the fair this year. We're back to the old style fair, so you're familiar with that.
Yes.
Probably means a lot of, I would say, some stress on bodies walking around. I always see firemen at these places there. And
I encourage the guys that are on duty to come down, park down here, let the kids see during the art walk, so that we can be visible to the community, that the little kids can stop and see the trucks. Also, if something were to happen, we would be close.
Right.
But one of the things we do, right now we're prepping for the art walk, is that we get down here and we inspect all the businesses prior. We like to do that maybe a month out.
The ones that have art, you mean?
Yeah, we're,
like
Fairfield
here.
Federal, we do our annual inspections so that we know that the extinguishers, the alarm systems, the sprinkler systems are all up to snuff before that big crowd gets there. So it's kind of fun for us. It gives us some excitement.
Community action too, and again, like you say, the PR factor is high there to see you guys out. Everybody likes to see firemen. They like to see the trucks, the squads. All little kids dig that, man.
Yeah, they do. We love it, and it's the favorite part of the season for me.
You still do tours and stuff for, like, I remember as a Cub Scout, every Cub Scout group went to a fire department.
We still do. They're always welcome to stop in at Engine House 1. We'll give you an impromptu tour. But last year, of course, we didn't have any. Schools were not doing their thing. So if you have a Girl Scout, Cub Scout, Boy Scout, whatever, give us a call. We'll come up and we'll show you around. Give the kids a little plastic fire helmet.
Nice.
We miss it. We like it. We want to see you.
Chief David Ward, Lancaster Fire Department, it's nice to have you back on with some real positive news. It was for a couple times on before the levy. It was getting a little dire and, the little gray forecast there. But now the clouds have parted and looks like maybe the fire department's back on course to get back where you would like them to be.
We're going to get there.
Oh, good. Lancaster Fire Department Chief Dave Ward. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Paul.
Always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be back talking American Red Cross just a moment.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
It's a hometown bank. It's located here in Fairfield County. Branches are convenient. They're located here in Pickerington, where my office is. I'm in Lancaster a lot, and they have plenty of branches there. And I much prefer dealing with the hometown banks rather than the larger nationwide chain banks.
so far everybody's been so personable, and for us to bank with the local bank, and we bank in Lancaster, it's been so wonderful because we'll call somebody, Steve will call somebody, and they'll get back to us right away, or they'll say, okay, we're going to make a decision in the basement tomorrow, and they'll get back to us, rather than calling a bigger bank where we had to wait and we didn't always get the same person the next time we called for a investment banking opportunity, or getting something appraised, any of those kind of things.
Everybody is very customer friendly. A lot of times I'll bring my dog Bear with me, and the staff love him here, and of course he loves them and the treats that he gets, so it's just a nice kind of a family type environment.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Again, I'd like to thank the Chief for coming in and helping us out today. Always fun to have Chief Ward. Very informative, lots of good info from him on the Lancaster Fire Department. And also the good people here, as you heard during the break there, about Fairfield Federal opening doors and closing loans. That's their new theme here as we move into the summertime. So we appreciate them each week allowing us to come in. Again, we're going to talk Red Cross, and it's always fun to have somebody new on, and that's the case here. We've got Matt Riddle on. Matt is the, what would be your director?
I'm the executive director for the South Central Ohio chapter.
And South Central would be Adams, Athens, Clinton, Fairfield, Fayette, Highland, Hocking, Pickaway, Ross, Vinton County. That's all the alphabet, man. You hit it all. That's
it is.
It's a lot of drive time.
It's a lot of drive time, but we have a lot of great volunteers with the Red Cross, and that makes my job a lot easier. So.
Matt Riddle, again, with the Red Cross and here today. So you and I forget the gentleman that we had on before you, who you replaced. His name was
Rod Cook.
Rod Cook had Rod on, and so now I think you're trying to build up the presence here in these counties, or certainly in this county, a little more than it has been.
Right.
Would that be safe to say?
Exactly. I mean, coming in, this is my first time being out and about. Really, it's been 15 months of me being virtual.
Yeah.
You're
zoomed out.
Zoomed out. I'm zoomed out on Microsoft Teams out. So it's great to be able to start getting out in the community. Meeting people, shaking hands, and talking about what I want to do over the next 6 months.
So I'm sure you've got an aggressive plan, and we'll talk about some things you've got going on that are important with the Red Cross and things we got moving here. Of course, it just flashed in my head with what's going on down in Florida. Anytime you hear a disaster, bang, almost the first thing you hear about is the Red Cross. So I'm sure they're jumping all over that.
Yep, we're watching the storm system right now. That looks like it's going to be turning into a hurricane, and I think making landfall possibly tomorrow with Florida. So yeah, most likely there'll be some local people from Fairfield County that are going to be deployed, most likely down to Florida to help people.
And even before that, the Red Cross was there at the collapse of that building.
Of course.
Putting people up, I mean, that's kind of your thing. That's what you do. I know here, on the rare occasion that we've had a bad fire or something, the Red Cross is always there helping people out. And God bless you for all the things you do for us. I always like that when we get somebody new in, I like to talk about their background. How long have you been with the Red Cross?
I've been with the Red Cross for 3 years.
3 years, okay. And this is what you always wanted to do, or you just fell into it?
Yeah, I have a personal story. So I graduated from Bowling Green State University.
Falcon.
I'm a Falcon.
All right.
With a degree in journalism.
All right.
And
not as good as OU journalism, but you just go ahead.
No, it's not as good as OU journalism school. I'll give you that. But I was working in the for-profit world, and just one phone call changes your life, they say. My dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2013. He was a healthy guy. He was basically my hero and my idol, and he was an artist for American Greetings, and he got to design a lot of cool Halloween cards and things. But he was only given about 4 or 5 months to live. And what we did is we took him to the Cleveland Clinic, and he would get platelets, and he would get blood transfusions and things like that. And it wasn't really until after he lost his battle with cancer that I really thought back about what I wanted to do with my career. And I realized that all the blood from the Cleveland Clinic is Red Cross donor blood.
Yeah.
So literally people from the Red Cross and the people of Cleveland were giving my dad more time to live and spend time with his family. So my dad was able to last a couple more months.
Sure.
So for me, the Red Cross is always a fit, and it's always going to be a fit probably for the rest of my life, just because I know that I can wake up every day, and if I can just get one person to give blood, maybe that gives one more person time with their family.
That's and so often you hear that where something has happened and they were on another career path and something happens, you never know, and it alters your entire life.
It does.
I mean, it changed something you'd never thought of before, and here you are, a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Working the whole state of Ohio, and
right. You don't get a degree in nonprofit. I mean, I'm sure you can. I didn't.
Yeah.
But I love the organization and for what it's done to me and what it continues to do for the community.
So again, you're kind of new to this area right here, certainly in Lancaster and Fairfield County, along with all your other counties that you're dealing with now, and out and about meeting people. You have some kind of master plan for several months here. You're trying to get a lot accomplished.
Yeah, I think there's three major things that I really want to do with the Red Cross in Lancaster. Is I want to kind of build it back up to what maybe it used to be in terms of a physical presence.
I remember a couple different buildings. There was one over on a few blocks from here, and then there was one just a couple blocks from here.
Yep.
Nice building, big size building.
So what we're trying to do is, to me, a healthy community has a healthy Red Cross, has other healthy nonprofits, and I think that we need to have a physical space here that is large enough to hold blood drives and large enough to hold training classes and kind of be actually a headquarters for our volunteers, because right now we necessarily don't have that. We used to. So I'm really trying to bring, that small town community feel back to this area. I mean, we've never left. We respond to home fires. We do blood drives weekly here. But just getting that presence back is something for me.
And that's probably a challenge, because once you drop off the map a little bit, it's hard kind of getting footing, getting acknowledged again, making people, oh, are you still here? I'm sure you hear that a lot. Red Cross, you've been gone for a while, those kind of things. So I guess it's just letting people know that you always were here, and you certainly are here now.
Yep, and just wanting to bring programs and awareness to things for the community. For example, education and preparedness of our youth, to me, is one of the most important things and best things that we do. So we have 3 programs. We start off with Pedro the Penguin, which is kindergarten to 2nd grade, and it's a presentation that we do in the schools. In the schools. Okay. We were doing them virtually, but now I think we're maybe going to be heading back maybe this beginning of the school year. So it's about a 30-minute presentation, and it follows Pedro the Penguin, and it teaches the kids some basic emergency skills, like what you do when there's a house fire. There's coloring books, there's videos to watch. The second one's Pillowcase Project, which is grades 3 to 5. And that one was created after Hurricane Katrina. One of the executive directors in New Orleans saw college students walking away with all their belongings in a pillowcase. So it just sparked this whole project where we now kind of create a mini go bag for kids. And they put them all in their pillowcase, and they decorate their pillowcase. And that class is about 60 minutes, more educational, coping skills. And we also have a new app called Monster Guard, where you can go on there and pretty much do all of these things for kids. Okay. And to me, the best part about educating our youth is anytime that we do a pillowcase or a Pedro, we're giving the whole family unit a folder so that they can double check to make sure they have smoke alarms. And if they don't have smoke alarms, we'll do them for free, and we'll come and do that. So it really gets the whole family unit on board with what we're doing.
And I noticed one of the things you're working on, maybe it's big in the Red Cross, is some connection to veterans.
Yes.
As a veteran, I find that quite interesting. What are you trying to do?
Well, thank you for your service.
Well, that's all right. Thank you. What are you trying to connect with the veterans? How will that help Red Cross?
Yeah, so just real briefly, and just give me 30 seconds, general service to armed forces with the Red Cross, because I don't think a lot of people understand what we do with the military.
Yeah, I've never heard any connection.
Yeah, so we have a whole division of service to armed forces. So we're there at every single military base around the country, around the world. Anytime that we're at the MEP stations where they deploy, we're talking to the families and we're talking to the soldiers, because really throughout that entire process, we're there for them. So if they need to get home for a funeral, they need to get home for emergency, they know to contact the Red Cross.
Is that right?
And we get them home.
Okay.
But more importantly here, and I think now, we're trying to work on resiliency courses and things to help veterans when they're home.
Yeah.
And we have something called the Hero Care Network that I'm not sure a lot of veterans know about. And it's basically 24/7 service for members, veterans, and their families to give critical needs, such as assistance and resource connections. And the best part of the program is that it's a Red Cross caseworker is with that veteran all the way through. So if you're a veteran, you're struggling with something, you can call our Hero Care Network. We're also setting up some virtual resiliency workshops. So there's one on July 8th, Creating Calmness, and one on July 15th called Effective Communication. So we're trying to help veterans with coping skills and get kind of acclimated back into the real world. And then we also have our Compassionate Core program, which I think is really cool. It's brand new. It's where the VA will match you with the Red Cross volunteer, and they kind of become your buddy.
Really?
And we're going to check in on them. You're going to call them once a week, just to see how they're doing, make sure they're okay, and always be there for our veterans.
You would work with the VA here locally, because we got a pretty good sized VA group here now.
If you're interested in being a Compassionate Core volunteer, you just be buddied up with a veteran and just call to make sure he's okay. And
So I guess that's one of the next questions then. If somebody is interested in seeing this, and like I say, I've never heard any of the veterans' information. So something you've said sparked something. How do they contact you? Do they go on the website? Is there a phone number?
I will give my email is matthew.riddle@redcross.org, and my work cell is 740-260-5166. And I'm not sure, Paul, if when you connect this to the internet, maybe I can put some attachments or PDFs or just reminders on.
Find that out, sure. Anything we do. And I guess the number one thing, we got a couple minutes yet. The number one thing when I think of the Red Cross, and you talked about helping people and fires and doing that, but I think of blood donations.
Yes.
And that's as a young person, that's really all you know about the Red Cross is they got blood donations, and you're going to get that fired up, I'm sure.
We are, and again, I think everybody has a personal blood story, whether it's a family member who's been in a car accident or cancer. I mean, when you really start to think about, we all need blood, and we're all going to need it probably at some point in our lives. And the summer is a really hard time to get blood drives because a lot of kids, a lot of families are out vacationing. They're swimming at the pools. They're not really necessarily thinking about giving blood. A lot of our blood is from high schools too. So during school session, we do a lot of high school blood drives.
This last year and a half, donations are down.
Well, we have an incredible team in this area, and donations have been very steady. And that's not without hard work. We've worked really hard, but we did some antibody testing for COVID-19 anytime you gave blood. And I think that kind of sparked it and kind of minimized the ones that maybe were trying to be a little safer and stay home. But to make the curiosity of someone wanting to get tested for COVID to see if you have the antibodies.
Well, it's good to have you back in the area. Good to know that if there's a local contact, we can get a hold of someone here, and you may not actually be in town at that moment, but you'll contact them and get coming back. So again, it's you got a website.
www.redcross.org/Columbus.
And again, a lot of good information on there. Matt Riddle, you contact him, you got the information there. So thanks for being on, and we'll stay in touch, and because we like to see you have a great success here in Lancaster and Fairfield County.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Matt Riddle with the American Red Cross. Thank you for joining us at Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.